Hey guys, I finished Twilight. It was a trip. I will say straight out of the gate, I like Edward and Bella together, if only because they're both equally, like, crazy about each other, but too emotionally dependent. And it's so scary, actually, how dependent they are to each other. That, I'm sure this was like a hit with the horny emos that read this when it first came out in 2005, and it spawned like a multi-million-dollar movie franchise. Well, not really franchise, but you know what I mean. I believe it was the first movie trilogy to split the last two movies into two parts, and they made a lot of money that way. But we're not talking about the movie series today. We're talking about the book Twilight, which I believe is actually way better than the movie. There are some parts where I think that the movie did that was better, but can't really say I have too much experience about the movie because I did not watch it. I only know it from some of this clips that I've seen. But let's get straight into it. I did not hate this book. It is a very rom-com, not really rom-com. It's a supernatural romance, and it spawned a lot of copycats and people trying to chase the success of Twilight. But there is a draw to the writing, which I think Stephanie Meyer does really well, is the sexual tension that she writes between Bella and Edward. It's really good. I was drawn into it, even though I thought both Bella and Edward were crazy and so melodramatic. I said this to my friends as I was reading it. I was like, Bella sounds like a jaded English professor that has been teaching for 35 years and at the same time has enough melodrama as a theater kid playing the act of Hamlet. She does not sound like a 17-year-old. Edward even says a little bit in one of the scenes. I don't remember which one. He was like, you don't talk like someone your age. And Bella's like, yeah, I sound like I'm 35 years old. People tell me that or whatever. Let me just explain. There's some scenes. She would have these really, I guess, poetic, romantic times where she's talking about Edward or something, and it's just weird. Let me just give you an example as to where Bella talks weird, she's not a 17-year-old. This is page 264. To give you context, Edward is showing his frightening abilities as a vampire to Bella, who is, I feel unrealistically not afraid of him. There's many times where she's unrealistically not afraid of things. I will point out another scene. But okay, so this is at the picnic she has. I sat without moving, more frightened of him than I had ever been. I'd never seen him so completely freed of that carefully cultivated facade. He'd never been less human or more beautiful. Face ashen, eyes wide, I sat like a bird locked in the eyes of a snake. His lovely eyes seemed to glow with rash excitement. Then, as the seconds passed, they dimmed. His expression slowly folded into a mask of ancient sadness. She just lets a vampire get close to her, and she has zero sense of self-preservation. I do not understand why. Any normal person, when you hear that there's a vampire that's gonna that could suck your blood and also is really attracted to the smell of your blood, she's completely uninhibited. Whenever she backs off, it's because it's for Edward, not for herself. So it's already pretty weird. This is also another part. So she's at Port Angeles, and she was with her friends in the downtown area, and she kind of gets into a sticky situation. People actually tried to possibly kidnap her or sexually assault her or whatever. And she's at this dinner place where after Edward saves her, and he's saying like, hey, you need sugar and food because that's what people do when they go into shock. Like he's assuming that she's going to go into shock soon. Like she's fine now, but like what happened hadn't like sunk in yet. And he asks her like, what were you thinking when it was happening? And she was like, oh, I was just thinking of ways to like disarm the men and like run away. But it's like, damn, there's 4 guys and 1 of you, and you're not strong. So like you weren't afraid like at all. You were just like, I'm gonna fight them. Oh, she says, really, I'm not going to shock, I protested. You should be. A normal person would be. You don't even look shaken. He seemed unsettled. He stared into my eyes, and I saw how light his eyes were, lighter than I had ever seen them, golden butterscotch. I feel very safe with you, I confessed, mesmerized into telling the truth again. So, like, her constant excuse is that, well, I feel safe with you. Like, you make me feel safe. I know you're going to protect me. I know you're going to be there for me. Like, etc., etc. And I'm like, okay, but, like, do you not have any sense of, like, hey, I am in danger. There's no one around me. I should protect myself. She does not. Okay. Another scene where, like, she, again, has no self-preservation, and I feel like she's, like, too into the idea of vampires and, like, being immortal. She, near the end, sorry, spoilers, but near the end, after, like, she almost dies because of this other vampire that I talked to her, which, by the way, that entire last 1/8 of the book was, like, really action-packed. I really liked it. I would have liked to see the movie, like, depict this part, because it was, like, you know, there were people going everywhere, trying to, like, lose a tail, like, whatever. That part was cool. Major plus. But anyway, she tells him, I want to be a vampire. I want you to make me into a vampire so I can be with you forever and eternal. And he's rightfully, like, saying, no, I don't want to do that to you. He says, I can't do it, Bella. I won't do that to you. Hobie. He says, like, I don't want to end your life. You're only 17 years old. You haven't been through a lot of things. You should grow old like a normal person. But she's like, yeah, but, like, I'm gonna die and I won't be able to be with you. And it's like, holy crap, you're only 17. You don't... No? There's so many things wrong here. I don't even have to, like, say it. You know? Like, he brings up, okay, what about your parents then? Like, they're going to die and you're gonna be living forever. And then, like, she, you know, understandably, she's like, oh, yeah, like, what about my parents? But, again, like, at the end of the book, she just goes, no, I want to be a vampire. And, no. But, yeah, like, she sounds like a brat. This is, like, the only time where she sounds like a brat. Like, she acts like her age, where, like, she only sees, like, the very, like, near future. She doesn't think, like, long term. She's, like, totally fine with being a vampire as long as it's with Edward. And it's like, oh my god, what if you guys break up or something and you're a fucking vampire now? I can't really undo that, Bella. Jesus. Okay, now we're gonna go into, like, another positive part I liked about this book is that, like, it's actually kind of funny. Like, there are parts where, like, Edward says something funny or Bella says something funny, and they kind of have this, like, rapport, and it's, like, really cute. I think, like, even though it is kind of like love at first sight or love at first smell, sorry, like, Stephanie actually does establish, like, a very good rapport and chemistry between the two characters. You really don't feel like it's very forced. Like, Bella is pretty snarky as a character and a little bit too self-egotistical, but we'll get into that later. So there's, like, this part after the dinner where Edward is, like, driving, like, 80 to 90 miles per hour because he loves going fast because he's a vampire. And she's like, so she says, it's, like, really funny. We're in the middle of, like, a pretty serious talk, but on page 181, I looked away from his face for the first time, trying to find words. I happened to notice a speedometer. There we go. Holy cow, I shouted. Slow down. What's wrong? He was startled. but the car didn't decelerate. You're going 100 miles per an hour! I was still shouting. Etc, etc. Relax, Bella, he rolled his eyes, still not slowing. Are you trying to kill us? I demanded. We're not going to crash. I tried to modulate my voice. Why are you in such a hurry? I always drive like this. He turned to smile crookedly at me. Keep your eyes on the road. I've never been in an accident, Bella. I've never even gotten a ticket, he grinned and tapped his forehead. Built-in radar detector. And I actually kind of laughed at that because Edward can like read thoughts like and minds of people that like he knows and like if he's close enough. So I was like, that's actually kind of funny. Like he's like built-in radar detector. And there's like another part where like kind of funny. So blah, 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 blah. So they're just like talking to each other and like there's like sexual tension, whatever. And she says, we stared cautiously at each other for a moment, and then as his clenched jaw gradually relaxed, his expression became puzzled. Did I do something wrong? No, the opposite. You're driving me crazy, I explained. He considered that briefly, and when he spoke, he sounded pleased. Really? A triumphant smile slowly lit his face. Would you like a round of applause? I asked sarcastically. Yeah, that was like really cute. I liked it. I do have to say though, like, Edward's like super weird and Bella's super weird, so they kind of deserve each other. I like Jacob. He's cute. Yeah, I give this book like 3.5 out of 5. Sorry, that was my phone. But it was pretty good. I'm not gonna continue this series though because like I have other books I want to read. Yeah, Twilight, pretty solid for what it was. Let's talk about like my ending conclusion and how like things changed as I am an adult reading something that was written in 2015. I would have been 7 years old. Damn. So I definitely was not part of the target audience for this book. However, my sister definitely was. She was probably around like 10 or 11. So like it's when everyone gets like really horny. Let's talk about like how some of the things portrayed in here would have been like pretty realistic for girls that were around that age. So one, I had to like confirm this with my friend, but like I also like agree. The transfer kid always gets a lot of attention, especially if it's a girl. Guys are like super attracted to the girls that transfer in because they're new, especially if they're from like a big city or something. Bella made Phoenix into like this glamorous like lifestyle, kinda like bustling city life. I do not know if Phoenix is known for that. I just know it's like hot as heck. Another thing, like that super dependency on your significant other, like that is a thing that hits you when you are young and this is your first relationship. It kind of like, I was like, damn, they're like in the honeymoon phase and they've only met each other for like a few months at least and they're ready to die for each other already. That was insane. But there was like another part of her relationship with like other people, like, or at least like every single thought she had was like just Edward. And you know that happens. You kind of like ditch your friends to like, you know, talk to Edward or your loved one, or not really loved one, but your significant other. That was like pretty realistic. So like even though as an adult I'm like, oh my god, don't do that. That's so toxic. It is pretty realistic for someone who is, you know, first relationship and 16 years old, I guess, or 17. I don't remember how old she is in this. Another thing, yeah, like the whole like emo-ness that Bella had, she was so dramatic and she kind of, I feel like she kind of thrived on it. Like she lived off of that drama that she was like doing. She constantly was aware of how people liked her, like how they like saw her. She got asked out like 3 times in a row by 3 guys to go to the prom. It was like kind of funny. She was getting irritated that so many guys were asking her out, and I'm like, yeah, that's the emo in her. That's the emo. Yeah, this book came out at the right time, to the right people, to whatever was like, you know, popular during that time, and that's why it's so freaking successful. It did so well. It made her hundreds of millions of dollars, even more. And I hope to one day become Stephanie Meyer. One day. But yeah, those are the things I changed as an adult, like looking at this stuff. But you know, this was pretty fun while it lasted. I'm not gonna continue, but you know, it was pretty fun. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. This is like not that long, thank God. I didn't have as much things to critique as I did with Divergent. So I decided to add this to the end of my video. As I was editing, I wanted to make sure that everyone knows that by the time this video came out, Midnight Sun had been released and published, and I didn't know all of the things that were about Stephanie Meyer that I knew now. I'm not gonna go too much into detail, but there are articles talking about her decisions, her executive decisions on the casting, on for the movie, and also when she was writing her book, she would write some problematic things about the Native American tribe that was mentioned in the book. Now, again, I did not read too far into the series, so I didn't know anything about it. I just wanted to throw that in there. I'll also add a description, into the description, a link to the tribe that she mentioned in the books. They are asking for donations in order to relocate their tribe because they are in, I believe, a tsunami flood area that could easily destroy their home and, you know, ruin their people. So, thank you. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Subscribe, like, and comment. Not necessarily in that order, preferably in that order. But thank you guys so much. Bye.